the NCAA, now saying it will allow athletes to profit from their names and image.
We've already hired a company called OpenDoors, they're kind of the Nike of that world.
The founders of OpenDoors, Blake, Lawrence, and Adi Kunalic. You guys are pioneering this whole NIL market.
We got a letter in the mail, and it was the NCAA. And Blake's sitting in my office, I'm like, things are really going to change now.
The first 2 months of July, we have tripled the amount of business in one of our products than all of last year.
You should choose speed over efficiency in the face of uncertainty.
I played with these dudes in college. We were all at Nebraska together.
Dude, there's a beast. We got to keep him. We got to keep him. 4-star, you know? If I said, this dude?
You know, like I might go down to Mizzou. I'm like, dude, stop it.
Oh my God.
Blake was like the only dude who had the body with the tight fit shirt, like looked like a t-shirt.
No.
I've truly been trying to invest since.
Probably day one.
You would never let me. Welcome to another episode of Bussin' Your... Welcome to another episode of Bussin' with the Boys. I am your host, Will Compton. My co-host, Taylor Lewan, he is in training camp right now. He just had a preseason game. He's got a job. On this week's episode of Bussin' with the Boys, I sit down with my guys, Blake Lawrence and Adi Kunalic. They are founders. They are entrepreneurs of their company, OpenDoors, which we're going to dive into. We talk all things NIL, which is name, image, likeness. The reason this is a great episode is because they're great friends of mine. We banter, we cut back and forth. They are mentors of mine, great friends of mine. Adi Kunalic, he was a kicker. We played on Nebraska together. He played in the league for a short period with the Carolina Panthers. And by short period, I mean, I think preseason. With Blake, my boy Blake, he played linebacker at Nebraska with me, with myself and Levante. And he had to retire because he had too many concussions. That's not funny. That's not funny. That's just, I bust his balls all the time about that. But this is a great episode. Before we get into the episode, we need to shout out PBR. They took care of the boys. Hey, did they not take care of the boys this weekend? First class, bro. I'm talking hosted the boys well. We got to take we got to do whatever we wanted. We got to see the bulls. We got to be up close with the bulls. We got to shoot camera angles from the shark cage, which is out there in the middle of the field. We got to shoot when the bulls are taking off. What do they call that? Shotgun. The shotgun cage? I don't know. We got to be. Yeah, that sounds good. We got to be up top, the aerial view. But anyway, shout out PBR. Some other house cleaning, not housekeeping, some house cleaning items. New merchandise, flags. Get your flags ready to be in the stands, hanging in your dorm rooms, hanging in your man caves. Your lady caves, because I know we got some tier one chicks that watch the boys, dude. But get your new flags, fly them all around the stadiums nationwide. We also have new Hawaiian shirts that you guys have seen. A lot of cool stuff. Those new row pads. There's like over 100 left. Get in there, get it in the store.barstoolsports.com, and click on brands. You'll see Bussin' with the Boys. Click there. You'll find all of our merch, but continue to buy our merch. Also this weekend, Saturday, third preseason game. The boys, we're having our only one and only preseason game, our dress rehearsal. We are throwing a tailgate and watch party at Acme Feed and Seed. That is this Saturday, August 28th. The boys versus the other boys. I don't know if we can. Yeah, we can say names. Well, I just know we can't advertise with the logos. Yeah, the boys versus the Bears. And so we're going to be at Acme Feed and Seed. The bus will be parked on Broadway. We will be on the corner of First and Broadway. The bus will be on Broadway. So if you're listening to this right now, you might not even be going to watch the preseason game, but you might be going out downtown in Nashville on Saturday evening, Saturday night. The bus will be parked on Broadway if you want a photo with it on the outside, not on the inside. But the boys will be there watching the game, having fun, slinging merch, doing some giveaways. I don't know if we're actually doing giveaways, but now the boys are going to have to think of giveaways. So yeah. This episode is brought to you by our great partners at Chevy Silverado. Shout out the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. I love driving my Chevy Silverado. It is the only truck that sits in my driveway now. Again, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. The Silverado is strong, dependable, hardworking, gritty. It is a driving lunch pail, boys. It is dependable like the people who drive them, you, other lunch pail grinders. The design is big, bold, and commanding, and this truck turns heads. I hate to say it, but I am not the best parked Chevy Silverado on my street even. There's a neighbor next to me who's got a beautiful high country it's got the lift kit on it. It's got the nice tires. Like he outdoes the boy. I don't even have the best Chevy on my street, but I damn near break my neck every time I walk outside looking at it. Tailgating, hauling, towing, off-roading, moving day, helping out a friend or family member, road trips, whatever you want to do. Road tripping down to the tailgate this weekend to see a beautiful Chevy Silverado parked on Broadway with that beautiful bus. Go to a Chevy dealership near you. Let them know the boys sent you. You might get a free tailgate, as I always said. But hey, shout out our boys at Chevy Silverado. All the love, the best partner in the game, the grittiest, the best truck. Now let's go to the episode. Bussin with the boys. Opendorse. Big hugs, tiny kisses.
Like, you are the biggest athlete investor that we could have even landed.
Damn, dude.
There's nobody better than you.
I've truly been trying to invest though since. Come on now. I want to hear you say it.
I would say probably day one.
Yeah.
Hey, let me get in.
You would never let me.
No, I didn't want to take like most of your salary.
But
that's probably what it is. Yeah.
It probably was. He probably felt bad. Like at the beginning, was it always tough? Like not allowing, like close friends and family.
It's not
invest?
even. I don't think it's about not allowing. It's just like the timing has to work out the right way. It's not like as a company you're not just always taking on money. There's like periods of time when you're taking on money, and then your major investors they have to. Like they have to be a part of it. You have to find a lead investor and then it goes through the process. So when someone's like, hey, let me invest, it's like, well, if you ask the question at the right time, it might actually happen, right?
That's right.
But if you don't, then it's like, hey, I know you're interested and we're going to come back to it when it makes sense.
Got you. So as we get started, because I'm actually going to have to introduce you guys, because you guys are like business guys. You guys aren't like, the superstar athletes where everybody knows who's going to be on the bus. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to have to sell my soul to get people to come and listen to this pod.
That's fine.
Like, I know you guys you guys don't understand right now, but if you click the link and listen to the boys, you guys are going to learn a lot in this episode. But these are the founders. Is it, I know you guys have ego. Are you guys both co-founders? Is that what you guys say?
Yeah.
The founders of OpenDoors, Blake, Lawrence, and Adi Kunalic. Adi, you are from Bosnia?
Bosnia originally, yes.
Blake is from Kansas City, Missouri or something like that.
Yeah,
Kansas.
The cool side of Missouri, yeah.
And I played with these dudes in college. So we were all at Nebraska together. In 2008, when I was getting recruited, Blake was my host on my recruiting trip. And so I've known these dudes throughout Nebraska. We've done the GPPs, the workouts. We've grinded together. Like, I'm having Bo on. I'm having Coach Bo on. Like, we all play for Coach Bo. And these dudes are like real ass entrepreneurs. You guys are pioneering this whole NIL market, name, image, likeness in college. Obviously, people see college football, NCAA, but you guys do stuff for Opendorse is partnered with who? NFLPA.
Yeah, NFLPA, MLBPA, NBPA, WNBPA, NHL, PGA Tour, LPGA, Team USA. Yeah, like the majority of professional sports organizations use Opendorse in some way.
And you guys, your platform has essentially been built to pioneer this NIL movement that is now happening throughout all of collegiate sports. We're like, I don't know when this episode's dropping, but right now we are 2 weeks removed from the announcement of this whole NIL, this Wild West of athletes being able to get sponsored and make money off the field.
Yeah. Well, and that's something we always say, and Blake's said this time and time again, like NIL is not new to sports. NIL is new to college sports, right? As it pertains to student athletes. So this has been around for a long time. We've been helping professional athletes monetize their name, image, and likeness since 2012. So like it's in our DNA. Like foundationally, this is why we built the company. It just happens to be that the market shifted in our favor, and now we get to continue to help even more athletes with student athletes being involved.
Yeah, explain what Opendorse is.
Yeah, so Opendorse is the most innovative and compliant way that athletes can monetize their name, image, and likeness. So you see an athlete promoting a product on Twitter. You see them showing up and doing an appearance. Like that whole experience, somebody had to reach out to that athlete, pitch them an idea to promote their product, go through the contract negotiations, pay the athlete. The athlete had to do it, send it out, measure it, sign the agreement, get paid, do their taxes. And that whole process is very complicated. OpenDoors is a software that automates all of that, right? So if a brand or fan goes to opendoors.com, they sign up, they'll find out like booking a deal with any athlete is as easy as booking a trip on Expedia, right? Like you find the athlete, there's 50,000 of them in one place. You say, hey, I want to send Will Compton an opportunity to do an appearance for my business. You click Will, you click appearance, and say, I'll offer him $10. Because that'd be market for you.
Like
probably.
$5, yeah.
Yeah, $5 for an hour.
A lot of my shit's usually free. Like sometimes I'll text you like, yo, when the fuck is Nebraska gonna pay?
You're not pushing big dollars to the doors, But make it super easy. Like this is, you talk about student athletes starting to get paid. The student athlete, let's say about pro athlete endorsements. There's about 5,000 pro athletes in North America that move the needle with like athlete endorsements, right? And now that NCAA student athletes are able to make money through endorsements, like there's now 500,000 student athletes in the market. So the market got 100 times bigger 2 weeks ago. And so OpenDoors is getting a ton of traffic. Like every student athlete in the country is signing up for this tool because it's the easiest way for them to make money, but follow the rules.
Right. When did you guys start to realize that? Because obviously compliance, a lot of legal shit, like you guys will know being on the business side of everything, but like, when did you start to become aware that, okay, you do this stuff for all of like professional athletes and you're making the seamless software program where you can go on the app and you can find the athletes. But when NIL started to come for college, like how did you guys have to start to pivot and build your programming for the NCAA, like the collegiate level? Because there's a lot of compliance issues.
There's a lot of rules,
every coach in America right now is probably having a team meeting about distractions and everybody, like, Dave comes out and talks about Barstool athlete.
Right.
And every athlete in America essentially wants to throw their ass at Barstool for a t-shirt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now they got Barstool athlete and everything. Like it's the wild, wild west. So what kind of pivot did you have to do to start to build and prepare for this all happening in college?
Well, here's like, I'll take you back. Like the 2013, we had Prince Amukamara. So we all know Prince. Prince has been on the bus, right? He's one of the boys.
Yeah.
And so Prince was back and we had just launched like the very first version of OpenDoors and he was in our office in Lincoln, Nebraska. And we paid him $10 to send out a tweet like, hey, just signed up for OpenDoors, right? And he was like, $10. Like he was making $1,000 a tweet at the time,
Yeah.
And so, he did it, sent it out. And the very next day, the NFL Players Association called us, right? So like the NFLPA, MLBPA, NBPA, like they're watching, they're listening, like every single business that any of these, athletes promote, they got eyes on it, right? And so from that day, like seriously, the second day the thing was live, we started to think about how do we build compliance and rules, like making sure that if an athlete's going to use this thing to make money, that they're not going to lose their eligibility, they're not going to get in trouble with the union. So like we've been doing the compliance thing for a long time. It's not sexy, right? But like athletes, for you just hit a green button, you make money, right? But OpenDoors, our job is to make sure that you're following all the rules.
Yeah, and then we were championing athletes the entire time. I think so. Like people, like when we look back at. Especially now that NIL is hot and it's trendy, everyone's like, hey, how did you guys know that this was coming? It's like, truth be told, like there wasn't like this magic time where we're sitting there like, hey, the NCAA is going to change their rules one day and we'll stand to benefit from that. Like that was never the intent. I think we knew that if the company is around long enough, because at the core, we've been always just trying to help every athlete. That's our vision statement. We've said that for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
So we're like, if we're around when these rules change, man, holy shit, like we'll actually be able to help every athlete, not just professional athletes, not just retired athletes, not just alumni athletes, but like every athlete in student athletes. And so we got a letter in the mail. It was like 2019, like that summer-ish. And Blake walks up to my office and he's like, he printed it out, right? And he puts it on my desk and I'm like, what is this? And I look and there's a blue dot in the top left corner. And it was the NCAA. And they're like, hey, it's basically like we are considering changing the rules or the legislation, and we would love to invite you to be part of the working group because we know your extensive experience helping professional athletes with name, image, and likeness for the last 6 years at the time, 7 years at a time. So they're inviting us to be sort of the experts to help them navigate what is coming. And when we saw that, and Blake's sitting in my office, I'm like, things are really going to change now. Like it was like the most exciting day because we just.
When was this? Like
2 years ago, almost to the day.
Yeah.
It was in July 2019. Yeah.
And you were in Lincoln and you just literally I'm like, wait, what is happening?
You're probably like, yo, do you fucking see it?
Yeah.
No, he
no,
was
yeah.
excited because
Yeah.
like he's, I'll give him credit. Blake's a visionary. So literally he had that, and it was later that afternoon, he comes in and he's like, here's the model, dude. Here's how this is going to work. And I'm like, when did you do this? You know? And he like canceled all his meetings, and he had already like, he's got a freaking whiteboard and whatnot, but he had already drawn up
All
the
his cartoons.
ecosystem.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And like, just like, cause we had all this institutional knowledge of how this should work.
Yeah.
And Blake's like, dude, if we just do this, we already have compliant technology. We already know the people in the space. And the thing is, like, Blake mentioned all the acronyms, all different sports organizations. What's interesting is they all have different rules.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're a brand and you want to work with NFL players, if you don't have a NFLPA license, you can only work up with the 5 active players. Once you go beyond that, you got to get a license. Well, with the MLBPA, it's 2, right?
Yeah,
it's only 2 players. So if you're
And these are guys who are not in the union, basically.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's like, you have to understand all those rules. A lot of times we were educating brands that were looking to spend money in sports on what it's like to work with players. So then this whole thing is like, of course the NCAA is going to reach out to us and be like, hey, if we're going to do this, what's the right way to do it?
Right.
Because there's going to be a lot of compliance. There's going to be a lot of regulation. What are the rules that should be in place? And so he's like, dude, it's right here. So that was exciting.
Like right there.
Yeah.
So like
That was the only
Gassing me
compliment
up.
I'm going to
Yeah.
give him all day.
Just gassing me up.
For every compliment that I give Blake, I just destroy him.
oh, bro, well, we've
Oh,
done nothing but drag
that's
him since you guys
exactly-
got in
yeah, yeah,
Nashville.
Compliment to insult ratio 1 to 5.
That's 100%.
One to
It's
five.
way higher.
Yo, so when all of it finally got announced, like obviously you guys are probably still living in the highs, probably some lows too. I know you've been in
Yes.
some phone calls as well. Like what's it been like since it's all dropped, since it's all been announced? Like how many athletes have actually started to benefit off of Opendorse, like off of name, image, likeness? Because everyone thinks, like I think the same way, is probably going to be the best player on every team or maybe the hottest. Like how many athletes have actually started to benefit from this?
Well, I mean, there's 40,000 student athletes that use Opendorse, and like they are all one click away from getting an endorsement deal. Like we have a brand partner, GoPuff, that's basically like, hey, we will pay every single student athlete in the country. Like, because there's so many people like, oh, only the quarterback's going to get a deal. Only the starting point guard's going to get a deal. But we've got a brand that's like, no, we will offer every single student athlete in the country, right? So as soon as a student athlete downloads the app and signs up, they get their first endorsement deal.
So what is GoPuff? They must be like they must have a shitload of money to spend, right?
It's a snack delivery app, right? Like it's like Postmates, but for a college campus. It's open 24/7. You need snacks in the middle of the night, man, GoPuff is there. It's pretty cool.
No free shout outs.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
No free shout outs to GoPuff. You
For
better
sure.
spend on Opendorse to
GoPuff's
pay
gonna
for
spend
this
it.
fucking
For
shout
sure.
out. Oh really?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So I'm just behind the time. I'm just
Yeah,
not.
you're
I'm just
behind.
not up.
Yeah.
gas station food, like all that.
Okay. So
And it's perfect for like college campuses.
Dude,
like
yeah, college
that's their
kids love
audience.
it,
Like,
dude.
because you're like, you're playing video games, you're hanging out with the boys, and you're like, I just need like some snacks. And we all have had that moment, and you really go on their app, and it's right there.
So it's natural to like, that's one of those things that being in college, you go back to Nebraska, right? Everyone knew that there was a Monster rep or a Red Bull rep or like the dude that was working at the bar, and everyone knew that guy. And so like these businesses have always tried to find the most influential like fraternity, sorority member to like be an ambassador, right?
Right.
But all these brands, the easiest way to know who the most influential person is on a campus is to pick a student athlete. But they've never ever been able to actually pay a student athlete to be an ambassador before.
Right, and if
So
they
it's
did,
gonna
it's
change
always been in
everything.
in an envelope or.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So if you're GoPuff, you'll go into Opendorse, and if they want to pay every athlete, are they basically going to pay the face value that's sitting on the athlete, like based on what your guys' metrics are that have curated like a price? You know what I mean?
No, these guys have a flat rate offer for anybody. It's the same for everybody, right? So, and they're just like, hey, if you're a student athlete and you turn on deals, and boom,
We wanna help you.
within seconds, you get your first endorsement offer. You say yes, and then Opendorse automates, like they send out the tweet, they send the payment, we handle the tax preparation. Like these kids are getting paid within seconds of signing up. It's wild.
And we have a bunch of partners that are comparable to GoPuffs that are lining up for these. We call them like welcome offer programs, where what they want to do is they want to be able to help every athlete. So we're like, well, that aligns with what we want to do. So like our idea for Opendorse in the future is that as a student athlete, if you have the app, that every week there's a deal sitting there for you from a different brand. Like every week you're like, oh, I just went to the app and I'm able to make $50. I'm able to make $100. And I think the coolest part also from all the brands that we've been like, just everyone that's been calling us inbound to really figure this out is there's just like, where everyone's thinking that they're just going to go after the quarterback or the star volleyball player. It's like most of the brands that want to do big things at scale are like, I want to help every athlete. I want to do it with gymnasts, with the softball players. I want to do with niche sports. And that's really cool because think about it, those are like the sort of kind of underdogs. A lot of times the sports that don't get any love. They like everybody's football, basketball gets all the love. And now we get to actually prove out the model to say that every student athlete should benefit from this, from name, image, and likeness, and they get to actually do it.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Look, life is full of stressors, and it doesn't matter who you are, what you have, your life is probably stressful in some kind of way, whether it's jobs, money, having a wife. I know me personally, the reason my wife and I go to couples therapy every other week is because she drives me insane. You may not be feeling down and depressed or like you're at a total loss, but if your stress is high, your temper's shorter than usual, like when your wife wants you to take out the trash when you get home and you're finally wanting to kick your feet up and watch the game, or even if you're starting to feel a little strain in any other relationships, you could probably use the chance to unload. Unload the stress and get it out. Talk to someone who's completely unbiased about your life, someone who isn't going to judge you or take sides on anything. When there are things that you can't tell anyone or feel like you can't unload to family and friends, you need to unload it somehow, and that's what therapy can be. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Unload the stressors and get some unbiased feedback. You'd be quite surprised at what you might gain from it, and see if it's for you. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/bussin. That's BETTERHELP.com/bussin. I'm just kidding, sweetheart. I love you. It's just for the podcast. But betterhelp.com/bussin. So back to the question, how many kids have probably benefited from the deal?
I know
in the last couple weeks.
In the first couple weeks, there's more than 5,000 endorsement deals have been just facilitated through Opendorse.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, 5,000 the first 2 weeks. Yeah.
And you have 40,000 athletes signed up right now.
Yeah, student athletes, and each one of them, like they're just gotta flip a switch and get the deal. So like as we're sitting here, there's probably 100 new student athletes that are getting their first deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
That's pretty. I mean,
what's it look like if as people continue to sign up? Like, how many student athletes are there?
There's 500,000 student athletes. So if every student athlete in the country made an average of let's say $200 a month, okay, that would be $100 million a month in endorsements, right? That is going to flow into this market, and like somebody has to manage it. You know, somebody has to make sure that dude is getting paid for that thing, and it's not a recruiting inducement. It's not a pay for play scheme. Like he's not getting paid by his coach, right? So like unlike the professional athlete market, like this is super regulated. You know, and then again, and 99.9% of student athletes won't have an agent, but 100% of them will have an app. Right. And that's us. Like we are the tool that they're using to monetize their name, image, and likeness. And what's wild is like we started this thing just to help one athlete, help two athletes, help three athletes. But now we're on a path here. It was like this should be the standard for every student athlete, every pro athlete, like for the rest of their career to do this right. Wild.
That is wild. I'm sitting here thinking like you were bringing up the agent stuff. Like, do you see a lot more agents now getting in this atmosphere of collegiate sports?
The economic model doesn't make any sense, right? So
you're essentially saying you can like brands. Why sit there and negotiate with an agent when they're going to try to hold the leverage of a player when you can just go on this? When you can essentially just go on Opendorse.
The thing is, like, you
guys are the middleman yourself.
We don't replace agents, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're a brand wanting to spend, like,
but we would repair like what an agent would do, or like I just like there's so many of these. Okay, the economic model of being an agent. Imagine you're at Nebraska and you're pulling in $200 a month. Like for you, that's real money.
Oh,
right?
No question.
But an agent would take 10, 20% of that So what agent is going to get out of bed and be like, man, I'm
For
going to work my
$20.
tail off and make $10 this month?
Yeah.
You know
And
what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
that doesn't
that
make
is true.
sense.
Because it started, where it all started was like 2011. Like I had my short time in Carolina. I remember being in the locker room, and back in Nebraska, Blake and I were helping athletes get deals, like some of our former teammates, right? And I'm in the Panthers locker room, and I know like my agent cared about me, but it didn't make sense for him to go and find a local Charlotte sponsor who would want to work with me. It just didn't make sense, because even if it was a $300-$400 deal, I had a small audience. What's he going to make, $40 on that, when he can go spend the same amount of time for a starting linebacker and get a $15,000 deal? So I can't be mad at the agent. The problem was access. So we're like, hey, let's build a platform that addresses the access problem. Let's let, like, why are only Peyton Manning and the Tom Brady's getting all the endorsement dollars? It's not that brands like don't want to work with the niche athletes. Like for you, you've got a really passionate. Did you hit 100K yet?
Yeah, I think we did today.
Oh shit!
No,
man.
today.
Congrats,
Yeah.
man! Congrats.
It feels
So
really good. My life's
you're
changed a
now
lot.
getting
Wow.
into that next tier, right? But it's like, you know, it's like it's not. It didn't feel fair that all the top athletes were getting all the deals, and the brands really did want to work even with the 100K athletes. Actually, probably even more than that. But they had the issue of access. How do I get a hold of them? I don't want to negotiate this, like, because it's not really a big spend, but it would be advantageous for the athlete. And so we're like, we need to solve that problem. So we started solving that problem back in freaking 2011, 2012. And what Blake was saying, when the NFLPA called us, they're like, we need this problem solved for all 2,000 of our active players. And then here we are 10 years later, and we're trying to solve that problem for 500,000 student athletes.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even only the 500,000 student athletes,
Yeah.
also the ones you still work with, like
Yeah.
you know, all the pro guys too. But
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool part too, is like to know that, you know, you can log in anytime, like to Opendorse, and you can see deal flow, right? And it's like, oh, okay, the largest car company on the planet just sent out 500 endorsement deals to every Olympic athlete, like every Team USA Olympic athlete. And you're like, that's cool, right? And then the next, you scroll down, it's like, oh, a food truck in Lincoln, Nebraska just paid the All-American volleyball player to be an ambassador for the year. Oh, that's cool. You know, and then you just keep scrolling, and you get to a point where it's like, oh my gosh, like that's Alex Morgan getting paid real money just to drop a post on Instagram. And, you know, you build this tool with a dream, like that cool things can happen. And then eventually you have a team around you, and you just get to see it kind of come to life. It's like its own little thing.
yeah.
It's like this bus, dude. This bus at one point was a dream of yours, you know? And like now you get to show up, and there's people here operating this thing, and you're like, oh my God, like this is bigger than me. This is big. It's a living, breathing thing. Now you just got to like kind of guide it, coach it, you know? But it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like it's hard. Like everybody would want to sponsor probably, you know, a niche of a team, or like a group of a team, or a position group, or the entire team.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you got to work with probably, you know, all those different agents and
Yeah.
all those different people.
Yeah, yeah,
and you
yeah.
have no clue of the guys who have like small little followings, but they do
That's
some
right.
damage.
That's right.
And it's not worth it for that agent to be sticking out their neck, because like you were saying, your agent would only make, you know, $20
Well, yeah.
off of like a $400 deal.
That's right. Well, and think about like the nuance that exists. Like, so most of the time, even early on, brands, it's not about just working with one athlete. They want to work with 10 athletes. And if they're all represented by different agents, that's 10 different marketing reps or agents.
Yeah.
So like it just,
Different negotiating
It's
styles.
Yeah.
chaos, all real quick, different
Yeah.
contracts. Yeah.
so then it becomes a headache. Now you're like, I don't even want to do this because that's too much. Or let's say 9 athletes were miraculously easy to work with, but the one agent is just being like, it's tough. And again, it's not the agent's fault. They're negotiating on behalf of their athlete, and they might feel that the athlete is worse than they should be, or vice versa, right? And it just slows down everything. So then a lot of marketers would not want to do it, because like I don't understand athlete marketing. It's too confusing. I don't want to go down the path of having to negotiate way too much of this. And so we're like, okay, we'll create a tool so that all these parties can feel informed. They can do it quickly, and when it's all said and done, it gets executed, and the athlete literally just pulls their phone out, they click approve, put their phone back in their pocket, everyone's happy.
Yeah. So to explain what essentially happens, like us at Bussin, we use OpenDoors. Like we use when we get all of our content, it gets dropped into OpenDoors. I get a text. Once the content, all the boys get done making the content, I get a text on my phone. Your folder's ready for all the content we've made for Bussin' with the Boys. I click on that folder, it takes me to our folder, and it's got all the clips, all the photos, anything I might want to post. And I can sit there and click on a photo, or I can click on a clip, and I can hit tweet or Instagram, and I can make the caption right from there from the app, and then it goes right out to the platform.
right.
So that's how it helps us on Bussin', but how it works for like the athletes, we're sitting here talking about, they get a text and you can hit approve. So if Bussin' with the Boys wanted to, I'm looking at Jack. Jack's a student athlete. If Bussin' with the Boys wanted to sponsor Jack, throw him some merch, throw him $50. We would go into opendorse.com. We would see based on what we want to get accomplished that Jack's our player or a group of players that we find. Like these are the guys we want to hit because these are the metrics. This is how well they do in that city. This is the reach we want to have. I click on Jack, a couple other guys, and send out this deal to them. It filters through your guys' software. The only thing that happens for the athlete, they get a vibration in their pocket, just like a text message. They get a text message. It comes from a Nebraska number 402. You open it up, and it says OpenDoors has a deal for you. Go check it out. You click on the link. It takes you right to it. It shows you the tweet that you're going to have. It shows you the caption that's going with it. It shows you the graphic. It shows you everything. You hit that it's worth $50 and some merchandise. You hit accept or decline. If you hit accept, it says, thank you. We will take care of the rest. It goes out for Bussin' with the Boys at the timestamp we picked it, at the day we chose, the date, time, all of it. It's seamless for both sides. The athlete benefits and gets the money in their bank account, and then obviously the merchandise gets shipped to them. If they hit decline, they hit decline, and nothing happens. Or you can edit it and make the caption your own. But did I anything I missed there?
Dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm sitting here trying to think of.
I'm like, damn, you want a job, bro?
Yeah.
Like, you want to do sales for
Let's
us?
do it one more time. Maybe you can smooth it up.
And every
That's a
year in
promo.
Nebraska, where the season starts or a spring game happens, they target the alumni to do a spring game post. It comes in, says it's for free, so we're always doing a solid for the boys. Shout out the boys. And there's always a graphic with like, spring game is 51 days away, and I'll be like, oh, that's a corny caption, so I'll edit the caption, hit accept, and then literally the tweet, I could be chilling all day long, and the tweet would have been out there, and you just they take care of it for you.
Dude, and you know what's wild is like I love how you say that, and there's a lot of people that listen, they watch this show, and they see you, Will, they see Taylor, and like you are the 1% of 1% of athletes that understand like how to properly market yourself. Like you're active, you're on social media, you're saying the right things, right place, right time, and the majority of athletes aren't natural marketers. You know what I'm saying? Like that was one of the things that we had to learn over this last decade too, was like, the old saying, like, if you build it, they will come, right? Like every startup founder is like, oh, we're going to be billionaires in a day, like,
no doubt. Like we throw this idea, let's figure it out. We're rich tomorrow.
Dude, just getting a rocket ship to the moon, and that's not how it works. Like you got to go through fits and starts and realize like that these athletes are like, hey, why aren't these brands like jumping on these athletes? And then you would go to the athletes feed and they haven't like tweeted or posted on Instagram in a month. And like imagine you work at ESPN, you're trying to like, hey man, this is the best show, you should advertise in this show, and like, oh, let me watch it, you turn it on, it's static. Like no one's gonna buy advertising on a static TV, right? So what we realized, like we had to find a way to like help athletes figure, like you gotta market yourself, man. Like you gotta photos, videos, content, like you gotta be pushing that stuff out all the time. And like that's the secret, is that everyone that's listening here, that behind the scenes of your favorite athlete most likely is this OpenDoors app that's like hand delivering them photos, videos, content from their team, their league, their alma mater, so they can be more active, because none of these brands want to work with athletes unless they have something to say and they're saying it.
Correct.
And like, again, most athletes aren't natural marketers. Like Will Compton is an anomaly. He's a freak.
Are we okay?
He gets
All the
it.
boys back there like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
He just hit 100K followers and now he's saying he's an anomaly.
He's a freak in nature.
Jesus,
This
Christ.
guy is the most natural marketer.
Well, I remember too, like you're wanting to make content for the athletes. So also like in my OpenDoors folder, I have all my Washington photos, all my Tennessee photos.
I did that for you.
You did. All my Oakland Raider photos, all of it, all those different folders. And then obviously all the Bussin' assets that we have. But
well, it is, but like I'll just the last thing I'll add on the comment, because I think it is important, is like we realize that like not all athletes are marketers, but consistency is the one thing that you can't Like as long as you're sharing something, you're going to be growing, right? So like the worst thing you can do is not share anything. And
Because you're worried about it.
Yeah, you're worried about something.
It's
Yeah.
like, yo, just post it.
Exactly. Just post a photo. Like I would say I'm like social media introvert. Like I don't share a lot. I know what my brand is, but like once I figured out like the things that I like to talk about is I like to champion other people. I like to champion my teammates. I like to talk about when other people are winning. I love that shit, right? If our company is doing something exciting, I love that stuff, right? And so you just double down on those things. And like imagine if you had a folder, it was just you and your teammates. You could literally like every week just post that. Or go and make fun of one of your teammates, right? Or do something, right? That's content. You're not talking about yourself. For those athletes who are, again, more on the introverted side, like, dude, social media is not for me. It's like, yes, it might not be for you, but your fans, they do care about what you're doing.
And this is the only window of opportunity you have. Like,
exactly.
Like you think about this, like, man, I cannot believe that Will Kampf is still playing in the NFL. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
that is
because I saw this
miracle.
fool day one recruiting trip. I said, this dude?
Yeah. That's
This dude, remember when Callahan got fired? You were committed before, like you weren't committed to Bo, right? You
Yeah,
committed to
correct. I was
Callahan.
committed to Callahan
Yeah,
first.
and like then we're like, dude, there's a beast. We gotta keep him. 4-star. You know, and I'm like,
yeah. And you
okay,
came in
like,
the dorms. Me and him were roommates. We had that super double, and then
Yes,
you came in
dude.
there.
Yeah,
and we're
that's super double.
and you're like, dude, but Missouri though, like I might go down to Mizzou. I'm like, dude, stop it.
Oh my god,
Stop
dude,
it.
get out of here.
Stop it.
Dude, it's a hometown state, dude.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Will's got that raspy voice.
Yeah. You do, dude.
He's like, I don't know, man.
With them little chiclet teeth, too.
Yeah, dude, they were classic.
You
dude.
left those in Bonne Terre. When you came up. Yeah, those are down there
You gotta
somewhere.
go pick them teeth up. Jeez, but no, like you imagine though, you're still doing it, and like we were playing at the same time, bro. We started together, and like I haven't been a football player for 12 years. You know what I'm saying? But
Because of concussions.
well, yeah, I mean, I had some concussion issues,
Yeah.
right? The
You would have been
still
in the
works
league.
a little. Oh, for sure. I was beasting you in practice. That's what I'm saying. Like this guy, jeez.
How much could you bench 135? How many times?
I got it like to 11 one time, dude. I was so weak.
Yeah.
Like,
Blake was like the only dude who had the body where like the tight fit shirt like looked like a t-shirt.
no, dude, that's not right.
That's
Hey,
it.
what's the strength coach that he's at Tampa Bay now?
Wade,
K?
Coach Wade.
Oh, Wade.
Coach
yeah.
Wade, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wade's dope.
He told me every day, he said, hey, Lawrence, you're skinny fat. I'm like, what?
What is
That's
that?
brutal.
That's
dude,
that's
too.
pre dad bod mode. Like that's like when dad bod was
I
not
know.
a thing yet. Like
Yeah.
you had a dad bod when you're like 19
I'm trendy, dog.
and you didn't have children or a
Yeah.
wife.
I was dad bod before dad bod was
That's actually pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Just
but
pounding the Gatorade shakes trying to get big.
no,
Yeah,
I
dude.
got some. Yeah, we did used to pound some Gatorade shakes. I used to put them in my pockets when we weigh in, dude. If you were underweight, remember when you're underweight, you had to roll.
Yeah, that's the most brutal
How about
thing.
Dobson
I've-
saying he's like, yeah, we should have never made you guys do that. That was
Yeah,
terrible.
I know. He admits
He
a lot of
admitted.
stuff. Like,
Yeah, he does. He's like, that
But
was,
you guys were so like he talked about how what the culture was like when they got there and they had to just do some extreme ass shit.
yeah.
Oh,
They did
yeah.
it right though. I mean, I gave him a lot of compliments. I'm like, we needed to get our ass kicked. That's how you get people to like fall in line and actually do things.
Yeah.
And commit. And
Yeah.
They met Dob yesterday.
did they really?
Yeah, Dob was here
Oh
for the
yeah,
Dale
he's a
Jr.
good dude,
one.
man. Yeah,
He is.
Dobson, dude. He liked you guys. Fuck, I was a project. He's like this dude. For real though, I was like just so little, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I would go in to get the chocolate milks. I get them out of the fridge. You know, we had pockets in those Adidas shorts.
Yeah.
I would go down there like mosey down, and I'd have two chocolate milks in my pockets. And we would weigh into the Hawks, and then there was that closet right there. So I would weigh in, and I'd make weight, and then I would duck into that closet, take out the chocolate milks, and just chuck them into that closet. I did it all summer, and then one day the trainer was going in there to get like the pads out, and she came out gagging, you know, because
Oh, 'cause all the spoiled milk.
racks of
Oh
spoiled
my
milk in this
God.
hot ass closet down in the. I made weight though. I never had a roll. Just made that trainer's day though.
Shout out Cigars International. No free shout outs. Shout out Will. Right now, Cigars International is offering our listeners 10% off your order plus free shipping. Just go to cigarsinternational.com and use promo code BOYS at checkout.
Talk about a personalized story. You smoke cigars?
I do smoke cigars, but I'm kind of pissed off about the most recent one because Will was smoking cigars yesterday with a bottle of bourbon, didn't get one text. He was clearly out there by himself. And none of the boys got hit up by Will to go smoke cigars.
I don't smoke cigars with dudes that look like that, dude.
That look like what? A beast?
Look like a beta.
Look at that. That's what smoking cigars will do. Get you a body like this. Whether you are working from home or just kicking back after a long week, there's no better way to relax than with your favorite cigar. And Cigars International has the deals and selections to meet all your cigar needs. Cigars International is home to the largest, what's that word, Will? Humidor?
I'm just watching the screen. I don't even know. Yeah, humidor.
Humidor in America. All the brands you know and love are available here, from the big top-selling national brands to the small boutique cigar makers. Cigars from Nicaragua.
Get a little more enthusiasm.
More enthusiasm?
Yeah.
Redo that bullet point.
No. Just start at cigars from Nicaragua.
Cigars from Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, Honduras, Ecuador, the Bahamas, America, you name it, they've got it.
A little more.
More? They have great cigar deals. From their daily cigar deal to weekly specials to their Cigar of the Month club. You got to get in one of them, man. A lot of y'all listening are not in clubs. This is the club to get into.
There we go.
Don't know where to start? Don't worry. We got you. They're the kings of making all-star. They're making the kings of making all-star sampler packs, like variety pack of craft beer, but better. That lets you get a little taste of everything. Right now, Cigars International is offering our listeners 10% off your order plus free shipping. Take advantage of these incredible savings. Simply go to cigarsinternational.com and use promo code BOYS, BOYS, for those that can't spell, when you're ready to check out. That website is cigars with an S, international.com, and use promo code BOYS. Back to the episode.
Sure. We went off on a tangent. What were we? I
don't know.
You're talking about, me still playing.
Oh my, yeah.
Building the brand.
No, I mean,
you're talking about like there's a small moment in time window.
Yeah.
And you're like, think about this, dude. You've played
it's over, man. It's over before you know it. Like, so, one day I'm a starting linebacker in Nebraska. The next day I can never play football again, And my career was done in a day. And like from that day to this moment, like I've dedicated my whole professional career, Adi has too, to making sure athletes understand this doesn't last forever. Like you have no idea how long your window of opportunity is. So if we can give you a tool, a technology, like so you can make the most of it, like these eyeballs on you are not going to be there when you're gone. Yeah. So get as many as you can, like collect them up, dude, get them. Like this is like a supermarket frenzy. Get every fan in Nebraska in the cart because you're out of there before you even know it. Right. And like, if you do that for every athlete on the planet, like then everyone's going to win, know? And like, you've done it. You found a way to trick all these NFL teams into signing you to play. And then you get to 100K 10 years later. I mean, like it's a Cinderella story. You know what I'm saying?
Cinderella.
That is, but God damn it, you playing the long game, but we got to do that. And I think I know we're making a difference in a lot of kids' lives. They have to walk out of this
and it's not like,
yeah, like Adi, how long did you play? Did you only play a year or 2 years? Adi was a kicker. Adi, unbelievable kicker. I mean, kind of hurt us. Big toe change. We won't talk about that.
Dude, don't.
Dude. Kicked in the league for the Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously you transitioned right away into being a entrepreneur.
So Blake and I had started our first company. It was a social media agency in 2010.
Heard that.
Where'd you hear that? I heard that on Facebook. Yeah. I don't know why we chose. Actually, I do know. It was that company still exists.
Yeah, bro.
So we sold the company in 2014, but it's alive and well right now. Like it has probably 20 employees, and they carry on. It's kind of weird to walk by and see the office.
Yeah,
and not know anyone
that
there.
company.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's so
you guys started that.
Yeah. So we started that company, and I had a dilemma, and I was telling you about this maybe at some point, but I think as an athlete, the one thing I think every athlete is taught their entire life is to not quit, right? So the transition from wanting to be an athlete and making a decision to do something else is very, very difficult because you feel like you're quitting something. And then most people are forced into quitting things. And I think this is why also sometimes people they hang on for too long, right? Like if you don't make it in that first year in the league, usually it's dude, you're probably not going to make it, right? You have
or if you haven't played, it's like if I'm hanging on to the dream and I don't get a call for another year, and it's
Yeah.
still July, and I'm like, I got to be ready to go.
And then you're like doing like, we've had former teammates, but I think a lot of athletes go through this where they're like, yeah, man, I'm just like trying to make a team right now. Like I'm staying super busy. I'm like, with what?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I just got to work out in. I'm like, and then what do you do the rest of the day? Like, well, nothing. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Right? Like it's not coming back. And I think that is a tough part because it's the quitting thing in your head.
Right.
And it's a psyche thing, right? You're like, I don't want to quit.
And
So-
you find those rare examples of it working out. Like for the most part, 90% is done after
Like,
that happens.
a great
But
example-
you have like your invincible stories and
That's
stuff
right.
where guys get that opportunity.
because they only cover the success stories, dude. They only cover like the guys that hung on and they freaking made a team, and it's great. I think that should exist in sports, but for the most part, I think when you're hanging on for that long and it's not like moving forward, you are not starting to transition into reality of life. Like being in the NFL is not a real thing. Like
we're in a
making
fantasy
20
world.
grand a week, whatever it is minimum now, it's like that's not real life, right? So when you start to have a real job and you start to realize how much it takes to make $40,000 a year or 50 or 60, like you're like, what? So I'm on the side of like, you should start to realize that a little bit sooner than trying to hang on to something and whatnot. But that, that's kind of like beside the point. But like I had this dilemma where I got back, my last workout trial was with the Buffalo Bills. It was in December. And
Going to kick in Buffalo in December.
yeah, and I was like, I remember I called my my
2012,
wife
right?
now, yeah,
December
2012, and
Yep.
I called Shannon, my wife, and we were dating then, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to make this team because I'm like, this place would suck to live in, I'm like, it was just like it just
Dang, Buffalo.
and I So sorry,
You don't want to
Buffalo.
get choke slammed on a table?
He's probably going to now.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna get a bunch of people attacking me, but no, like but I remember I came back and we had our business going at the time, and I had this like moment where I'm like, I'm done with these workouts, man. Like I'm done trying to make a team. It was becoming more and more difficult to try to lead people in a company when you had like a side thing. When it was like, okay, I'm trying to build a business, but also like if I get a call from somebody, then I might go and do that. And so me and him had the conversation, and I was like, it felt good that like I made the decision to stop, right? And I don't know if I would have gotten a call again. I remember calling my agent, and I was like, hey, if I get any more inbound calls, just let him know like I'm done, right? He's like, well, what about Canada? I'm like, I'm not going to Canada.
Yeah.
Like it's just not my jam. And I'm super thankful looking back that I made that transition because one, we had something, but two, it felt more like I was in control of the situation, the story, and I got to kick in the league. Like it was like first Bosnian player to ever play in the NFL. Like that was a proud moment, right? And
Dude, you're the first Bosnian player to ever play in the NFL.
The
it's like
only
a
one.
super fun fact, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dope fact.
Yeah. I mean, how many Bosnians are gonna actually even have an opportunity to do
Yeah,
it?
no doubt.
If there's ever another Bosnian plays in the league, it'll probably be a kicker.
Right.
Oh,
If
for
it ever
sure.
Second
happens.
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he'll
then
be
I'm
in
gonna be
your
like,
shadow.
yo, what's up,
Yeah.
bro?
Yeah.
What's going on?
That's true. First.
So first, but yeah, that was a kind of a cool thing looking back at it now. But like, and I was giving you some credit earlier. I think you've had the best. You're like in the middle of this transition from athlete to entrepreneur, like business owner, like podcast, because it's like you're like in it halfway. You're over here, but then you're doing things, and like you're doing it like the
You're
best
setting
way.
yourself up.
Yeah.
Like-
And you've been investing in your own brand for a very long time to be able to do it. And it's very clear that you like there is effort there, there's skill there, there's obviously like the actual like talent that you have there. So I think that's really cool. And it's something that other people could look at as a playbook and actually try to do and replicate themselves.
I appreciate it. Like I'm trying to get better at accepting compliments and everything, but
Yeah.
you guys have.
Isn't that
I
funny?
feel like I'm
somebody-
having too many, and I'm starting to get like five.
No,
Yeah,
you're,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
Like,
still
you
an
know, like-
idiot from Volunteer, Missouri. You have a podcast. Like,
Isn't it so funny how you give someone a compliment and then you're just waiting for the next roast? Like you're just like,
Oh,
hey,
for
someone
sure.
say
No,
it.
for
It's-
sure.
I'm
I
getting
know,
up,
like
yeah.
we do got to just be better. Like Taylor and I are trying to consciously be better. Like when we're, we had the thing yesterday. We're like, all right, let's hurry up and stop talking about this.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you're like, all right, let's do one more.
'cause
Let's do
you're-
one more.
there's
Yeah,
one
yeah.
more. Yeah.
That's so true.
I feel you though, man. It's like it's always been tough because a lot of times guys don't like with all of it, everything we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it fires me up that you're like, it's gone in a day. Like your window of opportunity is so small. It's like Athletes Are Brands Too, that book.
Yes,
you guys
sir.
know the book well.
Jeremy Darwin.
Yeah.
Read that book
No free
in one
shots.
day. The only time I've ever read a book in one day.
It had pictures in it, lots of colors.
Yeah, let's pop-up book. It was a
Big
pop-up book.
words.
Yeah.
But phenomenal book. And it just breaks down the moment of time that you actually have as an athlete. It's like, look, you got your unicorns, you got your
It's like
Mahomes,
the- like
you got
the
your
chart,
quarterbacks,
yeah.
you got your ones that they're always going to make the big money, like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%.
Right.
But everybody else, like, you got to find your niche, you got to find your voice. Like, whether you want to be in it or not, like, you're in the game of social media.
Dude, you know what's
and
what?
you don't have to care about it. If you want to do other stuff, like, you want to, I don't know, but if you want to do other stuff, it's fine. Or if you want to think like, what am I trying to say here? Like, if you're not about it,
It's
Yeah,
whatever. It's all good.
Not everyone has to do this, right? But
Yeah.
if you realize what you have, you should consider like using sports as a springboard into whatever you want to do.
right? Like, if you have interest, you need to understand that
Dude,
this stuff is a tool,
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
only have a finite window, the average window.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even the pro guys. It's like if you play in college or even high school, like
Yeah.
you have a very small window
Right.
to use
Turn
it
it into.
as an advantage
Yeah.
for you.
This is something I like. Like, I think LinkedIn is completely like underutilized or misunderstood, and I think
I
more,
think I misunderstand it because I'm not. I want to figure
okay.
out. how to
So
be
imagine this: when you are at Nebraska, you've got that N on your helmet, on the side of your helmet. You have a lot of leverage, right? So like, if you wanted to meet with anybody in town, they're gonna do it because you're a player. Like, you have a freaking jersey on. You're one of one. There's no one like you. So if I'm a student athlete, I'm getting a LinkedIn. I'm connecting with everybody in the community. And let's say I care about engineering, or I'm big into advertising. I would connect with everybody in the community, everyone that went to Nebraska who's in advertising. And I'd be like, hey, just want to connect with you. I'm a current student athlete. I would just love to connect with you on here. Maybe sometime I'd love to pick your brain on something. You're literally amassing this network. And at any given point, let's say in the spring, you got some downtime, you can go and grab coffee with that person. And now you've been building your network. When you're done playing sports, they will remember you, and you got to literally almost build like a network and a resume of people that you can go and work with right away.
Yeah.
Well, when you graduate and you don't have the leverage anymore, you don't have the helmet anymore, it's harder to get that coffee meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's different.
It's
Yeah,
different
totally
because
different.
it's not that, I don't know, it's not that like people all of a sudden don't care about you. It's just like, it's just different. We all know that.
Yeah,
right? Like,
it just is what it is. Like, you're playing a sport. Like, if I'm a fan, right, of the Titans, and I'm a diehard fan, like, and you're watching the Titans and celebrating, and then you see one of them, or you get to have engagement with one of them, like, it
Yeah.
just hypes you up regardless.
100%.
Yeah.
If they're an alumni, it's just different. It's
It
not
is.
that they don't. It's not that it's just different.
It's just different.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things, like, to what we're doing. Like, a lot of these kids are signing up for Opendorse and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get money. I'm gonna get money, And it's like, yeah, it's great. If they use Opendorse to get an endorsement deal, then that is so awesome. But like, in reality, they're gonna build an audience so they can get a job offer, right? Like, that's as good. And like, if you're a kid and you walk out of Nebraska with 20,000 followers, like, one of those people is gonna offer you a job, right? Like, that's how that should work. And like, that's, again, like, trying to springboard off of that. And so we're it's fun, like, being what we're doing. But then anyone that's listening, like, I think that who was on the bus yesterday, I'm just going to throw off, this part
Dale
of me
Jr.
sense, right? Dale Jr. was on the bus, dude. Do you remember, like, the very first time that you had a Twitter exchange with him?
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah, dude,
we were
I
talking
did,
about
dude.
it.
I was gassed. I was geeked out, man. I was running around screenshot. I'm like, dude, Will Compton's talking to somebody cool, I'm like,
You're saying you were?
I was hyped up for you.
you.
Because you, in
Suck.
that moment, you had to realize, bro, that you are garbage.
We don't like you, but
and
you're talking to him.
why is Ernest talking to you? That's what I was trying to say. Like, no, but like, and then you, at that moment, you had to realize, oh, dang, like, I can use this platform for this. He was on your bus, on your podcast in your city, and it all started on some Twitter exchange.
Yeah.
Like, that's the power of an athlete actually leaning into this stuff, dude.
Yeah. No,
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, you're right.
Right,
That
like-
is weird. That's crazy. And because I always go for, like, when you say it's just different, like, the thing I always say is, you're better looking, your jokes are funnier,
Yeah.
you can shake more hands when you're in the league.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
or when you have a jersey on, or when you're repping
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
quote unquote status, right? And the minute you're out of it, it all goes the other way.
That's right.
Whether it comes off as you trying harder or a little more desperate, all that stuff.
Leverage,
Because,
dude. Like,
right,
you don't
it's-
have that as much, right? Because like when you're in the league, like you have leverage. So then whoever has the more leverage can in the relationship can come off maybe a little bit more desperate, or they have a motive to want something from you. When you have all the leverage and you show humility and that you're humble, that you're just grateful for, people remember that. And then later, when you don't have the leverage, those people will remember how you treated them, how you made them feel, and you'll be able to work with them,
Yeah.
or you'll be able to do something. And that's, I mean, if you think, I mean, we like it. This is all about like, at the end of the day, it's all about what Blake was saying is like hyping people up, helping people, and that's what it is. It's like if you are just like a genuine, authentic person, when you have leverage, then even after it's gone, people will still want to do things with you.
Yeah.
We're back with another ad. Strap up, boys. This one is about to get long, strenuous, and we might face a little adversity. But you won't face any of those things with Cross Country Mortgage because of how easy they make it. Cross Country Mortgage is much like us at Barstool, a people-first group of people. They're dedicated, redundant to the fundamentals. Rewind. They're dedicated to the fundamentals of mortgage lending, which results in a fast, convenient, and less stressful home financing or refinancing experience. I feel like the face mask is hitting the mic. Rates are unbelievably low. Don't pay the bank more money than you need to. I can barely make rent, so I'm about to go to Cross Country Mortgage. Our friends over at Cross Country Mortgage make it super simple to figure out how much you can save on a monthly basis and over the life of your loan. The numbers can be staggering, and you know how much you can save. Oh, wait, you don't know how much you can save unless you actually talk to an expert and figure it out. Click here, swipe up to learn more about your refinance and connect with your team over at Cross Country Mortgage. If you're a homeowner and haven't refinanced recently, you may be leaving thousands, if not tens of thousands, heck, who knows, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table over the life of the loan that could be working for you in other places like your new man cave, your back porch where you smoke cigars, Will, and don't invite people, or an investment home purchase if you want to become a real estate investor, or maybe you just have a boatload of cash in your pocket to go gamble on your favorite sports team. Rates are at an all-time low and may never get this low again. Call today for a fast, free rate quote. Our partners will save you a lot of money. Call today and our friends at Cross Country Mortgage will give you a free home evaluation that is free to you just for calling. It's free. Just like the all-star athlete, Cross Country Mortgage pushes themselves through the entire lending process. If they get blocks, they figure out ways to get the ball over the line. Run left, baby. Don't miss the window as rates are expected to creep up. Spooktober. Reach out to them and see what they can do for you. And when you connect with Cross Country Mortgage, tell them Barstool sent you. Go to crosscountrymortgage.com/Barstool to learn more about your future home buying experience or refinance your current mortgage. Ooh, Will's good at this part. Cross Country Mortgage, LLC, NMLS 3029, all loans subject to underwriting approval, www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Back to the episode.
Andrew Hawkins, like we interviewed him, and one tip he gave everybody was like, when he was in the league, he at the end of every year he'd get about 50 jerseys. And any meeting, any conversation he wanted to have, he would, whether he had the meeting already or wanted one, he would send him a jersey with a written note on it.
That's
So
sick.
that was like a
That's
memorable
really sick.
thing. So
Yeah.
that way he always had them in their network, because it is like, if you want to relate it to anybody, like anybody in life as they're going through stuff, everybody negotiates.
Yeah.
Like at some point or another, we're always negotiating, and it's all about having some kind of leverage or having some kind of want to fill
right.
some need.
That's right.
And in this finite amount of time, as an athlete, as a student athlete, whatever, you have that limited time to use it as much as a tool as you can.
That's right.
Because you're trending this way, and then when it's over, you hope you've built a network or an audience, the way they're explaining athletes or brands too, to where even as it goes down because you're done playing, you're still able to keep it.
That's right.
Yep.
You know,
That's
the
right.
whole, hockey stick, whatever it's fucking
Yeah.
called, graph.
Well, it's scary, dude. Like whenever like the last
Graph.
the graph,
Real tough word.
real tough.
What's
word.
it
no
called? Graph?
hockey stick, graph, whatever.
Graph. God damn it, Blake! You made me lose my train of thought here. But no, I was
Because then when it's done, it drops. If you have zero,
it's like I think about it this way. It's like it's scary. So the last bowl game happens, and it's so interesting whether you win the game or you lose the game. But there is a ton of mixed emotions in the locker room. Everyone gets back in the locker room if you're a senior, right? So you're looking around, and there's some people that are crying because they're like, this is the last time they'll ever play the sport again. There's some people who like they know they're gonna have a shot at the next level, so they're just kind of like, it's just another.
it might be sad that they're not playing with the boys.
Yeah.
anymore.
So it's just kind of like that. There's some people who are uncertain. There's some people who are like, man, this was the coolest thing that's ever gonna happen in my life. That's a sad thing to say, but there's some people that have that mentality, right? Because whether you were at Nebraska or freaking Ohio State or Clemson, I don't know, but like those things are definitely going through people's minds. And so then whatever that feeling is, because it's almost like a timetable. After that bowl game happens, after that day, it's on a decline, right? The lead up to the draft is kind of like everyone still has hope because free agency happens. Right. You might get drafted.
Oh, the whole thought is you just need to get into camp.
Exactly. I just need to get in camp. But it's just on this like like steady kind of decline. And it's crazy. Then if you then run into people in the summer who nothing happened, it's like the leverage is completely gone. And that's when you want to be like, hey, but what else have you been doing to build your brand?
Right. And even that person, you'll feel the energy from them too, that nothing's going on.
It's gone.
And when you haven't built, Bloss and I talk about it, but when you haven't built like a plan B, it's like that whole mindset, don't ever have a plan B because it deters from plan A. Like I personally hate that advice just because I've always thought about like what's going to come next.
That's right.
So that way, whenever you transition, there's something like you just don't have that energy about you that nothing's happening, that you're at the peak and it's not going to be there anymore.
Yes, dude. You are sad to say, but like you can be in denial, right? Like you're like, well, if I'm planning for a plan B, then that means I'm not 100% in for plan A. But it's almost you're almost too scared to admit to yourself that a plan B is a good decision.
I just guys, I think that
because you had to make that call.
Oh, absolutely. I was building a plan B, plan C, plan D. I'm like, dude, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I gotta be ready.
Yeah, when I was undrafted and I had I apologize.
No,
keep your thought. But when I got my first, I said it. My signing bonus was $5,000 being a drafted guy. I remember putting it in my account. And I'm like, talk with my mom. She helps. We were like on this Dave Ramsey kick.
Did you go buy a Bentley? What you do?
No. I'm like, I got to make this last for 3 months. I got this for 3 months, and I'm like thinking like what the next steps are going to be. Like
same thing.
But anyway, go ahead. Blake.
No, I was going to make fun of Adi for being a kicker. So the segue was
he's never done that. He's never done that.
Shitty segue.
If we're on a call together, he's bringing that up, and I'm like, dude, we've already talked to these people.
No, because he's
the
like,
kicker joke is already a thing.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I played in the NFL. I was like, no, you kicked in the NFL. Dog, that's the difference.
And then he'll be like, oh, what does the NFL stand for? Not for long. And I'm like, all right, dude, already heard the joke.
Honestly,
already heard the joke.
I came on this bus to tell those jokes to the world.
Okay, that's fine.
You're taking them right
Your
out.
jokes are great.
Yeah.
Yo, I love seeing the authenticity from this too.
Dude, I'm just telling you, like,
having questions on that. Like, you guys have clearly been like best friends since the Lynx apartments, when we were all at the Lynx, and Blake can't come out and play video games with us because his girlfriend at the time's pissed off at him.
Loyal,
and, he's like, but my girlfriend. You're like, yo, just come fucking party with the boys, dude.
I would have beasted you in Halo, though.
Yeah, true. I'm not a Halo guy.
I know. Yeah, you're weak.
But okay. But you guys being best friends this long, like navigating your partnership and growing this business together, like what growing pains has there been? Like what advice would you have? Like make it a 2-part question too, because I have like questions for any young listeners or athletes listening that have like these inklings of interest on how to start. But let's start there.
Hey, I would say like anyone that's listening now obviously knows you and Taylor and your dynamics, right? And I think that sometimes you guys are you're goofballs 100% of the time, right? But like it is obvious, and he gasses you up every once in a while, give you a compliment like that. You balance him out, like you're running this show, right? And you get to both get on the mic, but he probably shows up and you're doing a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? Like in this relationship, like I'm more the tailor, right? Like I get to show up. Adi is we are a complete like yin yang, you know. Adi is an absolute operator, and I'm over on the whiteboard like thinking about God knows what, like some crazy ass ideas.
Doodling.
I'm doodling. Like exactly. Like my job is to draw on whiteboards.
Not doing any work. That's
I really don't. I really don't.
Literally, I'm a senior in school, and they're running Heard That, the first one they were alluding to earlier, the first business you guys built. And Blake is in my business law class, one of my business classes, and Blake is like the guest speaker, and he's doodling the entire time to explain it throughout his speech. He likes speeches and doodles. That's like
no, man. It's a balance though.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think the early, the biggest misconception is that we're actually friends. So that I don't know why anyone thinks that. No, I think we've had ups and downs. I think we had early in our journey, we had 2 businesses that we were running when we were 2 years into Heard That when we started Opendorse, and Blake being the visionary, and me being the integrator, right? The traction thing is like, I know how to execute, build teams, and scale. And he knows how to take things from like blank sheet of paper to something, right? And so we had like a 2-year journey where we were running separate companies. We were sort of in the same office, kind of partitioned, and then we lived together. So he would come home at night and he would try to brag to me. And he's like, dude, I just closed, a $300,000 round or a fundraise from friends and family. And I'd be like, yeah, man, but I closed a $100,000 contract. So I was like, making money is way harder than raising money. Okay. And so,
no, dude, chill.
Give me money. Go make money, create value. That's weird. You don't know anything about that. So we would have this competition.
Hey, I took over revenue this quarter, and we were up 120% over Audi's numbers last quarter. So no big deal.
What he's competing? He's comparing those numbers to COVID last year, dude. Of course, the numbers were down.
Don't handicap me, bro.
Okay. Anyways,
and you got the big announcement. Like you got a lot of hype this year too.
It's like being in ticket sales at the Titans. Like, yeah, dude, ticket sales are up this year. It's like, yeah, no one went. There was no one
at the game last year.
A lot more people in the games. There's a ticket sale guy, And
so I think that 2-year journey where we were running separate businesses, and we both owned the business, so there was it was mutually beneficial for us to succeed in both areas. But then when we came back and got to run OpenDoors together, I got to use my strengths, Blake got to use his strengths, and we also got to see kind of hey, you're really good at those things, and I'm really good at these things, and that's what we should do. So I think when you can sort of understand and respect each other's strengths, and then you double down on those things, that's when you can have a really good partnership or a good
it is a balance of strengths, dude. Yeah, not everyone plays quarterback, right?
Yeah,
you got to have a kicker.
Yeah. Okay, when the kicker's making all the money, that's really weird to me. I don't understand what's going on here. But we've also, I would also say we've had our
Give me a moment in time you guys are probably both thinking about in the old noggin where it was rough sledding between your guys' partnership and friendship to where it's hey, who's doing this? You had to navigate waters and learn about yourself to where it's okay, now we're finding these strengths of each other. Not you were good at this over in your job, I'm good at this. We both figured it out and found our way.
I think it was early on, it was just so. As I tell the story, it feels clean, it all happened like that, but it didn't. It was we had to go through the learning pains of understanding that, and then you reflect and you kind of look back at it. But I don't know if there was a moment in time where I'm just me and him we definitely do get in arguments, right?
Where we see the bantering. I can see where
we do.
Steam.
This is fun.
We'll have that, but I think that's what's good about it. I think I always tell Blake the best times are when he is not in the weeds of the business, right? Because he likes to come in and disrupt, and the ideas are good, but sometimes you need to let things kind of flow, and you need to trust the team will kind of get there. And then same thing, sometimes he can come in and it can actually help that department or that team, so it works really well.
No, I'm just saying here's what happens. I have 20 ideas a day, right? And I go in and Adi, dude, I go, dude, this is a good one. And I walk out of there and I'm dang, dude, I think Adi liked that idea. And you can look over your shoulder and he's just ripping up the paper. He's okay, whatever.
100%.
Because I'll forget about it by the time I walk out the door.
That's
what
right.
I'm saying?
That's right.
That's what it is to have a balance, because every person How many people since you had your first recording of a podcast have started a podcast, Will?
That's
How many, dude? Millions.
Yeah.
And they don't get to episode 3, right? Yeah. Because there's the difference between people who have things and people who want things or people who do things. You know what I'm saying? You are doing this. I remember when you called and said, I'm going to do a podcast, right? And I was like, hell yeah. Like, when you get it going, let me know. Because, like, dude, everyone now being founders, you're a founder, entrepreneur, like, people probably come to you all the time, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And, like, you check in on them, like, did you do this?
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, when our very first company, we were having beers over, remember, right, what was that? Turtle Creek. You know, where like all the boys live at Turtle Creek in Lincoln.
All the college
and
boys.
I'm over at Adi's and we're having a 6-pack and we're just, about to crush and go down to O Street. And Adi's like, yo, dude, going into senior year, he's sitting there, he's like, hey man, I don't want to work for anybody. Like, what should we do after I'm done playing ball? Like, what should we do? Because we were always idea dudes, And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm doing this like social media thing. Like, I was getting paid to tweet for a company, Like, that was my job as an intern. And I was like, I don't think I would do this, not just for this one company, but for everybody. And like, we started bullshit and going back and forth. And like, we just finished the 6, go down to the rail and forget the night, right?
Yeah.
The next morning, I wake up groggy and I checked my email inbox and Adi had sent me a 1-page business plan. He said, let's do it. That's why we started Herd At. If he doesn't exist, that's an idea that's a 6-pack and a night on O Street and disappeared.
A rager at the rail.
And a rager at the rail. You're probably there, shirt off, back of the club.
Yeah,
what
dude.
I'm saying? God, you would
Just
be
grinding on one of those rails on the side.
Yeah, dude, you would, dude. You would always be lost
I am
in that
fully
sauce.
convinced that COVID started in the back of the rail, like somewhere in there. It was just not a good place.
Shout out Georgia Boot, the world's most comfortable boot. Georgia Boot is America's hardest working boot. For 80 years, Georgia's been making boots that work as hard as you. These boots will hold up in any condition without sacrificing comfort. I gotta be honest, this is the first time I put these boots on. Whoa, let me tell you, that's comfort. Whether you're working on your feet all day, working around the house, or grilling out with your friends, these boots won't sacrifice comfort or style. Georgia Boot offers the best work boots, wedges, loggers around. Whether you need a waterproof boot, steel-toed boot, soft toe, square toe, Met guard, non-puncture shank, non-slip sole, they've got it. Head over to georgiaboot.com and use code BUSSIN for 20% off. Back to the episode.
Shout out Georgia Boot.
Shout out Georgia Boot.
I remember, because Blake, he's always been an idea man, and he's always wanted to do the entrepreneur route and everything. And so I'm always like, I'm around these dudes a lot. So I'm low key with my like young spirit as well, like always asking Blake, hey, like, what are you doing? And he's talking about, remember when you brought up Twitter diaries?
Yeah, my Twitter diary.
Yeah, you thought it was going to be a hit or two.
It's a banger, dude.
You're like, people could look back at their tweets. Like, he's had idea, like you do. You're like
That was a cool
visionary
one.
dude.
MyTwitterDiary.com. I can't get access to the domain, but basically I take your tweets and turn them into a hard copy book. Put it on your coffee table. It's a pretty good idea.
Come on,
You
who's
guys want
actually
one?
going to do that?
$14.99. MyTwitterDiary.com. Just kidding. No shout outs.
No.
No free
Yeah.
Don't
no
go there.
free
It's
shout-outs.
broken. Yeah, but no, everyone has ideas, man. You got to go do it. You got to go do it. And like right now, we're sitting here, like we have 69 employees at Opendorse, 69, and those are people like that. Their livelihood
dirty.
depends on like this. Yeah, it's a good number. We're not hiring anymore.
You say a lot.
Well, no, I'm just saying what he's saying. It's like
Yeah.
I would
I'm like
say,
listening.
well, because the way I think about it is like most like great businesses, like the idea initially sounds dumb at first. It just always how it is, right? So whether it's my Twitter diary or when we were
Bussin' with the boys felt dumb as shit.
yeah, it's like that, but then it becomes really trendy. Like when we first started our company, I don't think we were ever saying, "Oh, we want to be entrepreneur." I don't think that the word entrepreneur was like a thing back then. It was like we were going to try to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And we're going to
one
we're
person
going to
to pay
build a
you.
business. Exactly.
Then you get another one pay you.
And then
You're like,
entrepreneurship as a word became trendy. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, right? Same
Tank.
thing. Yeah, exactly. That
you know?
made it
It's
super
like Shark
trendy.
Tank made everyone like, oh man, I'm just gonna go in there and Mr. Wonderful is gonna give me all this money.
Yeah, it's
it's
like, dude,
that's
what are you
not how this
talking
works.
about, right? Same thing with podcasts. I think podcasts are super trendy right now. Everybody wants to start a podcast, but to actually have an operation to create true like engagement, entertainment, the business model behind it, like the licensing, the merchandise, like that takes actual skill set and effort and strategy and planning. that's the whole thing that Blake's is talking about. Like, you have to go actually do it. But when we were starting, we were like, hey, let's just solve a problem.
Yeah.
And see how many people have that problem. Is anyone else doing anything about it already? And like, how can we get it going?
Yeah. What for you guys, like getting stuff going and off the floor, like for people out there that like have ideas and they want to learn about like growing business, like me in particular, like you guys have both mentored me, Adi more so than Blake.
Yeah. Hey.
I don't have time for you. I
Yeah,
taught
you don't,
everything
dude.
You know, bro.
You always give me good ideas.
When I
but
see you on
it is true. The way
Sunday-
you guys do talk about your dynamic in the office is like, I feel like the dynamic of mentoring I get as well. Like where you'll have ideas, and if I need to go to like execute and put operating stuff into play, Adi's always a
If
good
you want
one.
to actually make real money and like scale things, you come to
Okay.
me. If you,
You know,
want to
when
get distracted,
when I want to
go
check
to this
on
guy.
my teachings of Will, I turn on television on Sundays and I say, taught him everything he knows.
He does. He tries to ride that all the fucking time.
Well, it's true, man. You're on the bench most of the time.
You have that one photo of me and you on the
special
bench.
Huh? Yeah.
You have that
but
one photo of me
I'm
and you on
just
the
saying,
bench.
man, I was really good at standing on the sidelines too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Taught you everything you know.
With starting and getting all this stuff off the ground, like outside of schooling and education, like me, a lot of my stuff that I get is through books or through like mentoring, like you guys, like asking people who are doing things that I would like to do or pick their brain. Like what types of tips or advice do you have for people like that? Like where did you figure out a lot of this operating stuff? Is it always through school, or is there books? Is there philosophy? Like what are some of the learnings that you've had?
Well, I think first you need to figure out what's your like learning vehicle. How do you learn? And what I mean by that is like, do you learn by reading books? Do you learn by talking to people? Do you learn by doing? Do you learn by watching? Like, so once you figure that out, because some people are like, oh, well, I'm just going to go read a bunch of books. I'm like, well, what do you do with that information? Are you able to actually apply it or whatnot? Like my most exciting times, and it's still to this day, is when we set very ambitious, aggressive goals for a quarter where I'm asked to do something that we've literally never done before, because I get to go through my learning process, which is I'll go dive in on let's say we want to build a certain strategy that we've literally never done before. I like to go and read a bunch of material on that thing. And I might buy 2 or 3 books. I'm not going to read them from front to back, but just pattern matching that stuff, applying it, getting the right people to buy in. Like, I just enjoy that experience. And it's been like that, like even in the early days when we're like, hey, we don't have a HR process when we got like 5 employees, or hey, we need to go fire somebody. And for me, I'm like, okay, well, I want to do it the right way. I want to be prepared so I can execute this the right way. So then I'll go through that process. But yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying like today we're flying into Nashville and I asked Adi a question, like, and he pulls out a book that like looks like an old tattered like Bible, you know, and he's got writing in the columns, he's got highlighted, he's got post-it notes in it, and like this dude ingests information, stores it, and can pull it up like an encyclopedia, like a Wikipedia page, like, but he learns from reading and
applying
and then applying, you know. And
you were talking about pattern matching. What do you mean by pattern matching?
It's like you're not supposed to, for example, like if you want to become really good at investing, you're not going to go read a bunch of investment books because they're just going to have like principles. It's like just being back in school again. It's better for you to look at case studies of people that have done great investments, or companies that have gone through or historical things that are maybe super niche, or a specific subject like I don't know, history on a certain vertical. That's way better than to go and just try to learn the fundamentals, because that's so educational. So when I say pattern matching, I'm like, okay, we as a company right now, we have 70 employees and 69 employees. He loves that. He's like, we shouldn't hire anybody for a while, so we have 69 employees. I'm like, are you 5 years old or what? But anyways, so then I'm like, okay, I'll look at like, where do we want to be, right? I'll look at where do we want to be as a company, and then I will go and find and talk sometimes to certain people who have literally gone through that process and done it before. So I just have validation in my thinking, and I have way more confidence in all the decisions that we make.
Like you're basically like a quote that you've actually told me too: "Success leaves clues."
Yeah.
Like you're just finding a blueprint.
That's right. And then you just have
matching the pattern.
Absolutely.
That's where you
and you have your own spin to it and whatnot. But like, imagine every choice that you make, the more confident that you can be in it. Like you have the self-assurance. You're like way more decisive. That's speed, dude. Because then you're not hesitating. Like, oh, I don't know if we should do this. It's like, it's all about speed, dude. And especially for us, like right now, it's like, you should choose speed over efficiency in the face of uncertainty. And that's literally what we're going through, which is like, we got to go really fast. We want to win the market. We feel like we're a leader and we want to own that. And so we don't really have time to be like, well, what if it doesn't work? Or maybe we shouldn't do this. It's about going to town on it.
For perspective, Will, the first 2 months of July, we have tripled the amount of business in one of our products than all of last year in the first 2 weeks of this month. Like I'm telling you, like that's insane, right? Like I mean, like a year ago there was 15,000 athletes that use.
What's up,
OpenDoors.
JP?
Now there's 50,000.
Your response.
Oh, where you go? Oh,
He just paused.
dude, I love that, man. Well,
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
But these dudes know me too well.
Yeah.
Will just retaining the information, and that's his reaction. Mouth open.
Oh, dude.
yeah, but like that's the real deal. Hey, you know, like we hired 27. Adi hired 15 people in the last like 60 days. 15 people. We got to hire 8 more in the next 30, right? And like that's a lot, right? Like you think about that's a person, that's their life. They got to get them to commit, believe, breathe, like and like that's the type. Like you move fast sometimes because market opportunities are market opportunities. And like we have a chance to help every athlete right now, so that's what we do. You know, and you talk about learning behavior. Like, how do I want to? Like, can I get my fair shake?
Yeah,
of this? You know
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool,
my
cool,
fault.
Cool. No, I know this dude's talking.
He's a philosophizer.
It's like a LinkedIn advertisement, man.
Yeah.
He is
Philosophier, dude. I love that.
He's a
That's a great word.
philosophier.
Philosophier. Let's go.
Jeebus.
To go philosophizer.
Oh my!
I don't know how you learned, Blake. Well, why don't you walk everyone through that? Because
I know I'm gonna
I don't
make
know
it
if
up.
Maybe
as
he
a-
would
Yeah.
benefit.
Yeah.
Adi might benefit
I'm
from
gonna,
that.
I would love to know.
I'm gonna start talking, and then I'll find my way to how I learned.
Yeah.
No, I would say like, Will, do you have a book? Like, have you written a book?
Yeah, I've read a book.
You have not written a book.
Oh, written a book? No,
No, but you've learned a thing or two,
Yep.
right? And so like one of the things is if you think about your favorite people that have taught you so much, like have they written a book?
Yes.
They have.
The favorite people who've taught me stuff.
Like the thing about has
It's like I'm sitting here like
Will,
I've read
has
like
Bill Compton the second written a book.
Oh no.
No, but you've learned a lot from that man, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like what I'm trying to say here is
Bo
like,
Pelini hasn't written a book.
yeah,
I've
Bo
learned a lot
Pelini,
from
yeah,
him.
no, right, and that would be the top seller.
Yeah.
Bo
Focus on the
knows.
process, compete every day.
dude. That's in my email.
Bo knows you open it up and it's focus on the process,
process,
compete
yeah,
every day.
And like 100 slides of just
Yeah.
the same
It just
thing.
says same thing. No, but I like. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of things that I learned from people, right? I want to go find another founder that has been in a similar situation where like maybe they're running low on cash, they got a big market opportunity, their head of marketing is about to quit, and they got to get 5 new people to come in and try and fill his position, right? And like I don't know where you find that in a book, but if you go and like talk to 5 founders, like 3 of them are gonna have a situation that was at least similar, like and most people have a similar experience. If you like strip away the industry, strip away the actual problems, and just say, hey, here's the emotion I'm feeling. Have you felt that emotion? Tell me about the time in which you felt that emotion. How did you get through it? You know, because another part of this business stuff is like, yeah, there's X's and O's, but there's the Johnnies and Joes, right? That would be in Bo's book too, right? But
That was solid. You should have just stood on it and kept going.
yeah, but I'll take it. But there's those things that a lot of building a business or building anything it's deeply emotional, right? Like it is, you're invested in this thing. It's a part of you. So if you can go talk to people that can tell you how they felt when they went through something similar, then you can extract like that too. Because a lot of it is like just reassurance. Like, am I doing this right? Like, am I thinking the right way? Like, are we treating people the right way? And like, at least you can learn from other people's experience, which maybe you just can't extract that from a book. You know?
Right. So you do a good job of navigating, finding the right people who've probably been through a similar
I
experience.
love talking to
or
other
somebody
founders.
that you look up to. You love like, communicating about it.
man. And like, Adi knows that, dude. I'll get on a call with somebody like, and you just like one little tidbit. It's like, oh man, did you know what this dude did? Like he sold his company for 20 million, you know, and here's what he did when they were in this situation. And like, dang, that's crazy. Cause that dude's never going to write a book and put that story in there. But now I have that story that can like inspire me to try something like that too.
That's right.
That's good.
Yeah. I learned.
It is. I mean, I feel like also like the things that we really care about, like, so for me, for example, we talked about hiring. So I think that building a team is more of an art than a science, right? But somebody who doesn't really care about hiring or recruiting, which is a very difficult thing to do, right? Like you building a team, this is a very hard thing to do. These guys have to give a shit, They have to have ownership mentality. They have to show up when you're not here. They have to set things up. They have to care about what you guys are trying to build. For it to look and feel and turn out great, that has to be the right team. And for me, that is an art. Like I can get on an interview. Blake will be part of interviews with some people, and he'll be like, yeah, that person was great. And I'm like, no. Like, because to me, it's more of an art. I'm literally interpreting everything that's going on, how they're answering certain questions, how they showed up, like what they said their background was. And that's because it's something that I care about. Now, there might be some other things that are a little bit more of a science, where it is more about the principles or sort of the rules around and whatnot. But like, you are definitely more of a...
Dude, I'll hire anybody.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You want to work
like,
at OpenDoors, like, hell yeah, dude, there's a 5-star. You know, it's like, that guy is a walk-on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's, no, but he wanted to work here, dude.
You know, like...
Happens
He
all the
believes in
time.
the vision.
Yeah.
Like, he sees it. Like, hire him. It's like,
He wants to wear that in on his helmet, dude.
Yeah. That's
oh
Blake,
my
dude.
Gosh,
He
no,
would, man.
for sure. Like, that is, but to me, that's the balance, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, because for me, anybody that believes in a second, like, in the vision, I'm like, get on board, dude. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I want to win the game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta build a team. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah.
For you, what's winning the game?
Well, so I think about building
Did
a
you
team.
ask him for him, like, what's winning the game?
Yeah.
That's a cool question.
Yeah.
Well, he said that. I'm just thinking.
I was more talking about in context of like building a team. But if you ask me what winning, that is a deep question.
I know we'll sit back and talk about this shit all the time.
Damn.
All of us will just kind of sit around because you just have different angles. Like,
What's winning game for you?
The most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know fully yet. Like,
yeah.
for me, it's all in like, it's broken up, right? It's just broken up into different priorities.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like winning the game for me right now, career-wise, like I'm currently getting to do that. And I guess seeing this through, and I guess what seeing it through means to me is, I don't know, because every year, or probably every 6 months, we might see another level of potential we're starting to get into or tap into that we had no idea, that we had really no idea that it was coming. And so then you fall in love with something different that's going on with it.
Yeah.
Man, that's such a good question, dude.
It is. It's a great question because it's hard to answer, because I think if you are way too set in what your answer is, I don't know if you're trying hard enough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
because you feel like, oh, I won. Like,
yeah,
okay, well,
it's
what
like,
game
it's
did
like,
you
I
win?
don't know. You want it to be fluid. Like, you know, any entrepreneur that's, or let's say you're running a business and you're like, oh, the end game is I want to sell this company. I'm like, dude, you're not going to succeed. I'm sorry. Right? Because you're already thinking about an exit.
Right.
And there might be a time where you should think about that, but like, you'll know when it's the right time to think about that. But like, if you start something with an exit in mind, how are you supposed to actually make that thing great?
Hey, but here's
Right?
the thing. Hey,
No, yeah.
Hey, one of my favorite things though is all advice is autobiographical. Like,
Yeah.
you're just talking to yourself in the past, because like somebody's listening, like,
hang on, slow down. Autobiographical. What's
like
that?
all advice is autobiographical, and like you're just talking to yourself in the past. Like, if you ask me for advice, all I can do is reflect on my life, right? And it's as if I'm looking at myself in the past and myself asked me the same question. Like, I'm just talking to myself.
Right.
Anyone you ever ask for advice in their life, they're just talking to themselves, right? And they're just trying to find a something familiar. And if you're asking for advice from somebody that's never been in your position, like, why are you asking them for advice anyways, right? So all advice is autobiographical. So somebody's listening is like, no, I started a company with the goal to sell it, and they sold it, right? And that person is always going to say,
Yeah.
hey, if you start something without a goal to sell it, then what are you doing? You know, like, what we get to talk about, and our journey is we're in the middle of it, you know? And we'll be able to say what success is. The way to success will be, in our eyes, what we did, right? But there's never the same path to the same outcome. You know, I just think about that sometimes, because like, I know that you and I you set a big, hairy, audacious goal, right? You say you want to help every athlete, and everyone's like, so what's success for you guys? You know, it's like, well, have we literally helped every athlete? Like, has every athlete on the planet downloaded OpenDoors and used this tool? Oh no, there's another one. Okay, not there yet, right? So like, it's just like the pursuit of an impossible goal is ultimately gonna, like, that is to me what this journey is, like, what entrepreneurship is.
Yeah, I think too, like the identity you build like in it, like all the principles and stuff you've talked about, like even if that goal doesn't hit, so say my goal is, 10 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I don't get 10 years in the NFL. It's like, well, you lost the game. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still in the
No,
game. Like it's
exactly.
just,
Yeah,
the game has changed for me.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like whatever you build from the inside, like working inside out, like all the why stuff, all the cliche why stuff that we talk about, like who you are, I guess, as a person, like you just filter to a different game every time. I don't know what the fucking end game is.
Yeah. And I don't think you need to have one, man. I think life should be more fluid. It should be just kind of, you should enjoy it. You should strive for big things. You should surround yourself with great people and actually and with family and enjoy life and enjoy the journey. I don't think you need to have an end goal. And maybe one day you wake up and you have one, and that's great. Good for you.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like that's maybe what the disclaimer, right? It's like we're all sharing things about like what we have experienced or maybe heard from other people that have been appealing when they share them with us. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I'll have someone tell me a story. It'll change my mind about something. I'm like, okay,
just the perspective.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, great. So I'm not. There's nothing that I'm completely set on. Sometimes people will have convictions or. Whether it's like a political view or religion or I don't know, whatever it is. And I'm like, damn, dude, you're that set on that?
Give us examples. No, just
like open it up. Like, so what are you talking about?
Real quick. Let's hear your craziest religious thought, please.
Let's get some clips and
what do you think about
really hurt you. No, that's.
Could you say some things we could blackmail you with?
Yeah.
God.
So I think we should all have a disclaimer under everything we say or recommend. And
You said like I'm just trying to win the game. Obviously, you were talking about it from the art standpoint of hiring somebody and the process that you're seeing through. But
because it's team building.
I was thinking like, what does winning the game mean to you? And then you threw it at me, and I had no fucking clue.
Yeah,
I'm like,
got him. Hey, let me.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's an unrealistic goal, and you win along the way because winning doesn't last forever.
Yeah,
that's it, man.
That's your book. You've been trying to get me on.
Yeah.
It's by Tim Grover.
That's the book. We've been giving him some love. Tim Grover, Winning, the book Winning. Because it's like when we're 23, like when I'm 23, to me, winning is like playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
And if I knew I wasn't going to be like a high rounder, it's like, oh, let me just get a couple years in the NFL.
That's right. And
that's like winning the game, but like,
no, it's not.
I think that like the pursuit of some of those things, like, you're the same, like how much is enough? And the answer is just a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like the answer, like when you have that next thing, you want that next thing. And so like you spend so much time chasing something you don't realize like when you have it because you like keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like again, Opendorse, we've raised $20 million for this company, right? And I remember when we first raised our first, like somebody wrote us a $20,000 check. I'm like, God dang! And I met another founder that had raised $20 million. I'm like, good Lord, like dude's got it all figured out. You know,
dude's got it all figured
out. Then you're sitting there with 20 million. And you're like looking at the dude that's got 200 and you're like, dude, it's got it all figured out. And then you eventually realize like nobody has it figured out, man. Like go.
That never changes.
Like just help solve one more problem, one more day, help one more person and like have fun.
Shout out Showtime pay-per-view. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or do I even say that?
No, you're right. Keep going. You got it.
But it says Showtime pay-per-view and most valued promotion.
Right. You got to say both.
Okay. Shout out Showtime. Showtime pay-per-view and most valuable promotions presents Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, a 5-fight pay-per-view event in Jake Paul's hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. The professional boxing card will take place Sunday, August 29th. The action-packed pay-per-view telecast will be produced and distributed by Showtime Pay-Per-View, beginning live at a special time of 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific. The Barstool Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley.
Tyron.
Yeah, whatever. Tyron Woodley. And we'll have tons of ways to bet fight night along with special boosted odds and featured bets. The main event will feature renowned... Is that right?
Yep.
The main event will feature renowned content creator and undefeated pro boxer Jake, the Problem Child, Paul, and former UFC champion Tyron, the Chosen One, Woodley. Tickets are on sale now and can be purchased at rocketmortgagefieldhouse.com. The event is also available via all major cable, satellite, and teleco pay-per-view providers for $59.99. back to the episode.
Yeah, enjoy your own shit
Dude,
going
what a
on too.
deep podcast, man.
Yeah, dude, I
Those
didn't
listeners are gonna be like, all right, we're hour 20
They're
in.
like,
Let's get some
is this a
stupid
startup podcast
stories. Yeah.
or is
Yeah,
this
yeah,
Bussin'
yeah.
still?
Gee,
I'm
biz.
stoked to finally be an investor now.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, we're thinking about naming.
I say that
like
with a little friction
Oh, really?
because I've always tried getting in.
I know you've
timing.
deserved to get in now.
Instead, I've been a guinea pig. Like you've tried making content for me. Hey, let's do this. Okay, I'll do that. Like when do I get to get in? Like, you don't want to get in this cuzzy.
Yeah, no. hey, bro. Here's the deal.
You know how you talk
yeah,
too. Oh, cuzzy, you don't want to get in this thing, doggy. And I'm just like, all right, I guess we can't have a serious conversation.
Doggy, nah. Yeah, you would do that.
That's
Hey,
his way to handle like the
No,
serious
dude,
talks.
yeah,
He just starts getting
He
like,
just, yeah.
Hey, you know, like-
doggy, you don't want to get in this thing, doggy.
No,
like,
no,
all
I really
right,
do.
all
That
right,
Why
was
are you
fucking
doing this
do.
to me? Yeah.
You know the Animoji thing on iPhone?
Yeah.
Will would only send me videos him as the dinosaur and be like, doggy, can I put
Jeez.
money in? I'm like, dude, yeah, this is the type of investor we need.
Yeah.
The dinosaur man. No, I do. So you're an angel investor, like William Earl Compton III, an angel in my life. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds nice.
It is, dude. It is nice. But like the reality is like, hey, when you went to the league, you said, hey, that $5,000 got to stretch. Like I have never, ever wanted to take money out of your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like I always want to put it in. Right? And
Right.
like, that's the thing is that
You never did, but
I know you
like,
are.
hey, are these guys going to start paying me for the tweets?
Yeah. We are now with your own
Yeah, I
money.
know. I know.
Now they put some money
Give
in.
back. No, but the truth is that, you know, these athletes, they go through and they get to that next level. They get that first paycheck and like, oh man, you should open up a Subway franchise. Like, oh, clothing line time. Like everyone's trying to get in their pockets and like, hey, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. And like none of that stuff pans out. Right. So like I never felt comfortable saying like, hey, yeah, we should take in like money from athletes that we know that our entire mission is to help you. Right. But what I know to be true is that your investment in Opendorse is going to pay dividends. Like it's going to be worth it. Like we have validated and worked. Like there's a lot of people that right now just heard about Opendorse for the first time. OpenDorse.com. OpenDorse. Okay. You're going to hear it for the first time right now. And you're like, oh, that's a great idea. You know? And it's gonna be like, oh, it's an overnight success. We've been doing this for 10 years, dude. We've been doing this for 10 years. And like anybody that says that this is easy and it happened fast, like they're wrong, right? But now we have validated enough where it's like, yeah, you can give us some of your money because I'm gonna get you a 20x, 30x, 50x return.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go, dog.
Let's go, doggy.
Especially once we get that little intro video of you explaining how Opendorse works. So.
Yeah, we do need to make like a piece of cool content, like how it works. Like if there's a way to like walk through and
Bro,
I'm like, all
like-
you got to do it with
We'll just send
whatever
you a
I'm
deal.
saying. But I'm saying visually too, like you
Yeah.
click, like you go something.
Hey,
we'll make something cool. The
that'd be
boys will make
dope.
something cool.
That'd be dope. I mean, hey, like when, real quick, how are we doing on time? Like I know that this is not my job to do any of this shit, but are we good? Like you guys?
I mean,
good?
Are you just talking about time like on this podcast, like
yeah,
this
dude. I just
episode?
want to make sure, like, if you want to get stories out, like we've talked like super hypothetical stuff, right? There's not been many tangible stories about anything in this podcast.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
that's-
sorry, like I'm just like.
Yeah, no, you
I
just
just
said that.
know
I'm
what,
like, oh,
what
yeah.
people listen to. Like I would listen to us talk about hypotheticals of this, and I don't know. I just know that
Yeah.
there's stories to be told too.
I think it's exciting. I think anybody listening who's a college athlete, like this gets you excited.
All right, cool. That's
Gets the
good.
blood flowing down
It's a good-
low.
I get it, dude.
It's a
I get
good-
it. I'm just
That's
like,
a good
you know,
filter. Yeah.
I mean, this is what you do,
Yeah.
you know? So, I mean, I'm not trying to like run
Sorry.
the show, but it's obvious that I could.
Is that Charo being like, hey, what do you?
No,
What
it's
is he-
the boys. Somebody said something.
Oh,
Alex said urgent. Something urgent. Oh, okay. We'll respond after. Yeah. Yeah, we got flagged for that bullshit. I was telling about it
Yeah.
earlier.
what?
I don't want to. Yeah,
Oh,
don't want to say it
we'll
now.
talk about it.
Yeah.
I,
Right.
On camera. Hey, explain, please.
Yeah.
Like, let's add more content to that.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything like you guys? I mean, fuck. If you guys have any questions, whether it's a story or just anything that we've all talked about or they've all talked about.
Craziest deal you've seen for an athlete so far? Like, what's the most amount of money a college kid has made? Or do you think? What do you think? The
Are
most
you
amount of
allowed
money
to
is?
say that?
Yeah, we can't talk about like specifics.
Can we just say player X?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to just be like, what is a college player made? And you just say like something that's been
We-
crazy.
We can talk in aggregates. We can talk
Well,
in
what the
averages.
fuck does that mean, dude? You guys have been throwing a lot of bullshit out here.
Big word over
You should
here.
just have a dictionary right next to you and just like, all right.
We can talk about aggregates. Hey, fuck you, man.
Yeah. Don't talk about aggregates like that.
Yeah, like
This is Tennessee, man. We don't say that.
You racist motherfucker, dude.
Jesus. Just
That's
the
hilarious.
aggregates are all pissed off.
But so what?
All right.
Well, so what is it?
Like, here's the thing. Like most people, we're knee deep in athlete endorsements and this sort of thing.
Give
but-
us something.
All right.
Give us something.
There's a gymnast. There's a gymnast for LSU. Her name's Olivia Dunn.
Oh.
She's got 7 figures lined up already in endorsement deals. A gymnast at LSU, right? So like everyone listens, like, oh, it's got to be Spencer Rattler bringing home the cash, right? It's gonna be Derek King making that money. Like the truth is that the athletes that are making the most right now are content creators, TikTokers, YouTubers that just got to flip a switch and they're making money right now, right? Because you know the dude that's gonna get paid, you know, to sell a shirt for $20, maybe do an autograph for $100, like that's gonna stack up and rack up and be impactful, right? But the stuff
for
that-
sure.
The people that want to listen, like who's making 7 figures? It's a gymnast at LSU that's got 4 million followers on TikTok. It's the Haley and Hannah Cavender at Fresno State that have thousands of YouTube subscribers and 3 million TikTok followers. Like those are the athletes that are winning, you know, and that's the coolest thing is that these people, you don't even know about it, but those are the, and for them, there's not like a pro, like this is their moment to make that money and they're doing it. That's the cool part of NIL.
Yeah. Especially
People always be curious about like the big, like who's going to be making like the 7 figures or 6 figures of, you know, shit like that.
Yeah.
But people don't understand, like you were saying it earlier, like, I mean, $200 a month goes
Oh
a
my
long
God,
way.
$20
For,
a month
would you
wow.
imagine getting that? Like, yes, we are on full ride scholarships and people make that argument. Oh, you got a full ride. You get you get college paid for. We're busting our ass doing this. Like you should be grateful, blah, blah, blah. Like we get our scholarship check. It was around what? When I was a senior, it was around $800.
Yeah, $800
$800 a month. You'd get.
$780.
And that was to pay rent.
pay for
food.
rent. As like after I paid for rent, after
It's
I
way
paid
more now.
for
Utilities.
phone, rent, car insurance. I remember I would have like maybe 120 bucks left a month. So I needed $20 to go downtown because you knew everybody, right?
Right.
So like that was what you did. But like I think that the Scully checks now are like 1,600 or even more. But it's like,
but the secret thing though, like that again, I swear, if you weren't a student athlete, like this stuff won't. You'd be like, okay, I never thought about that. But remember that Subway over by Home Depot, like where you could go and like everyone knew, like if you said the right word, like you know, you might be able to get that $5 foot long for a little bit less, right? And
That
I
was
never
at
did
Nebraska?
it. Huh?
That was at
No,
Nebraska?
this is a hypothetical.
Oh, okay,
Like
okay,
Taylor
yeah, yeah.
Lewan was telling me a story at Michigan.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Michigan. Go look into Michigan.
Yeah, look up Michigan.
look
But-
at Michigan.
What's true now is like for the last 2 weeks, for the first time ever, like you've been able to take the burrito from Chipotle when the dude's like, "Hey, you're a baller. Like burritos on me." Because like 3
Because
weeks
now
ago,
it's not illegal anymore.
well, no,
Yeah.
you got to do something though. Like you have to do something. It's got you can't just like, take it because that's you have to have an NIL activity. So like kids are doing like, oh, it's an appearance. Like I made an appearance at Chipotle and I got an $8 burrito, and like that's all good. Or they'll tweet out about Chipotle, like
Yeah,
you know, tightest roller in town, like
Yeah.
on O Street, you know, whatever. But that is what's happening, and that's the stuff that's like people. It's not gonna make headlines that some dude got an $8 burrito for free, but for the like history of the NCAA, you've never been able to, right? Just to have the option is pretty dang cool. I think it's not gonna break headlines, but that's the type of stuff that I'm excited about. But we got to get some Bussin ambassadors, dude. Like I think that we should right now. I'm gonna make you commit. How much are you gonna put towards building out the Bussin with the boys teams? Like we need some Bussin athletes
You talking about how much money
right
to put
now. I need you to
financially?
sit, yes, easy, man. No, let's talk about how many. What? Hey,
Hey, a
just tell
decision
me-
like this takes time.
No, it doesn't.
It takes
It
time.
takes
It
time.
takes right now, not money. Let's talk about describe the perfect ambassador for Bussin with the boys. You go out and build out the team, the squad. You're like, yeah, those are all Bussin athletes. What are they? Tell me what they look like. Are they gritty?
Obviously, somebody for the boys. Oh yeah, grit.
Grit.
The grit.
The lunch pail.
Yeah, lunch pail guys like wolves. People who are about like being for the boys, that embodies being for the boys. It's not like you want people who are going to post, who aren't going to be afraid to get in an interview, say we're all in a group chat, right?
Yeah,
or say
yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking back and forth and say, hey, this week, if you win, barring that you win the game and you feel good about it, just shout out the boys and say, hey, subscribe to the boys and rate 5 stars.
Let's go. Why not?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or, you know, obviously you got stuff that we can give
of course
is up in the air, but the ideal person, I think Taylor and I immediately think of our alma maters. Like, how do you take care of those guys?
That's right. That's right.
And get them on the train and get them on a train in a way to where they're not nervous about being for the boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I
mean?
mean?
That makes sense.
You want a lot? You trying to have?
I don't know. We're trying to figure that out.
You trying to get like 10 boys?
See, like, yeah, there's thoughts to where
boys.
you get like a small group, or you think like Taylor being at the level he's at playing football, being a Pro Bowler, being at the high peak of being an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
A lot of these young kids, especially in college, know who Taylor Lewan is.
Yeah.
So they want to be for the boys somehow. Like, hey, how can we be it? So you don't know, like, you know, you create this hogs, like you
That's
create
right.
anything, the big boy, any of that stuff, big nasties, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you think about that avenue. You think about, okay, if I worked with a certain amount of linebackers, whether it be in a mentoring avenue, like there's so many different options that have gone through my head. I don't necessarily know what that is yet. But I know like a lot of the athletes have already reached out to us. Like, how do we be for the boys?
Right.
That's
Yep.
right.
And so those are obviously the types of guys we want, people who are taking initiative that know what's going to come with, like, they already know about how we go about things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course.
So you said 100 grand. That's what you said? Did I hear that right?
I think I heard that too.
Oh, you heard 2?
You heard 2. Yeah, I
You
think so.
said 200. So Bussin' with the Boys is going to commit 200 G's to building out the Bussin' with the Boys.
And this is
athlete
from Will's
roster.
like pocketbook.
Personal.
Yeah, personal cash.
Wow.
Your personal cash.
You guys heard
We'll
it here
see how that
first.
looks. Yeah, we'll see how it all
You heard
looks.
it here first.
But
200.
it does fire me up. Like,
Keep
part
going.
of you guys visiting was we were going to be talking about those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So
We should do that for sure tonight, man.
it fires me up though. But that's a good question.
I think
because
that-
I've tried
you-
thinking
Bro,
about
it's not
what
about
that's
the
like.
money. I say that tongue
I'm
in
not
cheek,
talking about the
yeah.
money part. I'm talking about how you go about doing something like that.
Right.
With a brand that we have, like, do you want to be selective and exclusive in things?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be like, you know, Dave puts out the video and every athlete, period, you know, wants to put Barstool athlete as long as they get some merch, which is incredible branding, which is a great
It's
move
interesting,
by Dave.
yeah, but there's a lot of compliance issues with that too.
Yeah.
Big stuff. Like,
Which you know about. We won't get into because we, you know, it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I just thought you would skip over some of the stuff Adi was talking about, and we just keep going.
I thought I had a friend at the start of this podcast. I clearly don't. So you and I are going to hang out together.
I'm offended. I've never been more offended in my life.
That's cool.
Okay.
What compliance issues do you run into with all that?
IP, like teaching kids that if you didn't
You bummed about that?
Yeah, let's have a full band.
really?
Yeah, we
That's
need,
why I was, that's
we need
why
a wrap. Yeah.
God
So you
dang,
got
dude.
Garrett just making a huge fucking body moving back there, throwing
yeah.
his head up.
Like, we don't have time for that.
And then
What is
yeah. Let's talk about the history of
Good Lord.
yeah.
Do you want to hire and fire our people?
Sure. Yeah.
Get rid of Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
That's fine.
yeah.
No,
Sorry to cut you off,
No, yeah.
no, it's good, dude. I
but
got nothing.
Opendorse.com. Here's drop your
Dude,
little.
this is like anyone listening. Like, you can log into OpenDoors.com, create an account, and you could find whatever athlete you want and ask them to do whatever you want for whatever amount of money, and it'll go straight to their phone. Like, you want them to tweet about your small business, you want them to give you a shout out. Like, it's like Cameo meets Fiverr plus just asking an athlete directly, hey, do you want to support my business or say happy birthday to my kid? Like, Open Doors just makes athletes more accessible to the people that support them. Like, it's super easy. And so do that. Like, just do it. And you're gonna Will Compton's on there. You can ask Will
don't bring this
Compton
back
to
to
do
me. Just do your
whatever you
thing.
want.
Just do your thing. Don't bring this back to me.
Don't
No,
Opendoors.com. Follow at Opendorse.
Yeah.
Your Twitter handle.
Blake_Lawrence.
Yeah. and
Your
mine's
Twitter
just,
handle?
Kunalic, Kunalic.
Follow the boys. We love you. We appreciate you. Big hugs, tiny kisses. You can get our merch at barstoolsports.com/store. Subscribe and rate 5 stars. Pound the like button.